Okay, good morning. Hello. I think I'm actually going to do the whole thing today. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show up in my. Wait, what? Oh, here it is. I really don't want to over edit and cut things out. I love that I was having a hard time with the editing in the beginning because it really forced that aspect of just the transparency, and we can work on that in the future as I improve and have more tools and stuff. But at the moment, I'm just gonna go with it. Every once in a while I feel like I'm making a video kind of to reach out to new collectives, and then once in a while it's just kind of thank you for being here. This is a special little extra thing for you. It's probably not going to get around to a lot of people. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about reflecting on the pick a card that we did. I was going to make some shorts on it. And it just felt like now is a good time to really sink in and just reflect on the whole thing. So you don't need to look at every single part of the video if you're only called to look, or you only were called to one or two of the piles, of course. But if you feel like it, if you're called to any of them now when you weren't before, this is all a process, and this is all an opportunity for you to, learn more about yourself and about your intuition, and to develop your discernment through trial and error and failure and stuff. That's what we're here for. So hello, welcome to Kai Chi Alchemy. You can call me Katchi. This is a space of love, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the cosmos today. I'm gonna see how my dog does in the background. Let me know if you can hear any of that. I want to thank y'all for showing up. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for all those likes, shares, comments, subscribes. We've grown a lot over the last few weeks, honestly, exponentially, and that is really cool. And I just wanted to say thank you again for everybody that's here already, and to new faces, of course. So all of those things that you do really help this project and my life and the energy that we are building together. And so it helps me to expand and reach more people and help more people. And that's why I'm here today, because of the people that helped me through this kind of work. And so paying it forward. Sasha, I'm not gonna play ball with you right now. Sorry, just not happening. This is gonna be a collective message. It will not resonate with everybody. It's gonna be 3 individual collective messages, so they will not resonate with everybody. Not everything in it will resonate with everybody, of course. Please take what resonates for you and leave the rest, as always. Here we're gonna do a brief 1 breath meditation. Okay. I'm gonna ring the sound bowl. If you have any sound sensitivities, please cover your ears or take out your earbuds. Okay. So we're gonna start here with the Soul Family group. I'm gonna read from the guidebook. So I have the frequency deck here. Let me see if I need to make some room. We had a lot going on in this last reading. Oh, my nose has been itching like crazy lately. I mean, that's usually kind of a psychic nudge about something, but man, can it be annoying? Let's see. So I'm gonna pull this Soul Family card first, since it was on the front and it is the one card that I pulled for the energy of the whole pile. This one was associated with heart energy and with the herb lemon verbena. And the guidebook for this art says, if you have drawn this card upright, it is time to put more energy into your social life. Stop waiting for people to come to you and instead take it upon yourself to go find them. Often taking action lets the universe know what we are Often taking action lets the universe know that we are serious enough to put energy forth towards what we are wanting. No one is going to knock on your door and ask you to be his or her friend or family. Remember, you are not on looking for quantity. Quality company is what you are looking for. Brainstorm ways that you could go about meeting like-minded people. Take the initiative to connect and form relationships that are built on substance and meaning. Okay? In the reverse, if this is relevant to you, because everything is always a spectrum and a polarity, so this may be speaking to you in one way, or it may be speaking to somebody else, speaking to you in a different way. Always reverse roles and things as necessary. Don't try to make something fit, but if there's a way that it resonates with you, it doesn't have to be exactly what people expect. So in reverse, if you have drawn this card, you are in resistance to deep friendships and family because you think that connection means getting hurt. Your sense of not belonging is causing you to not be a match to the people and places who would make you feel like you belong. Being the odd one out or the special one has caused you to think that no one else can understand you. It is time to end the loneliness. Relationships do not always mean pain. If you have drawn this card in reverse, the time has come to recognize why you are so resistant to meaningful, deep, committed relationships with others. Happiness is meaningless if it is not shared. All right. And then we have clarifying that comfort. 12. Actually, still waking up here, guys. Okay. Let me find the guidebook for this one. All right. So we have comfort. If you have drawn this card upright, it is okay to ask for comfort and it is okay to seek comfort out. Life does not have to be so hard. There is no virtue in struggling. To get to the state you want to achieve, you need to let go of your attachment to discomfort and to the idea that things need to be hard to be worth something. The greatest clarity is achieved when we are in a state of ease. Deep down, you crave the soothing, settled, cozy feeling of well-being, but you need to actually allow yourself to have it instead of denying yourself of it. What are you not letting yourself do or have because you think that letting yourself do or have it will mean that you are weak? Okay, so themes about comfort and about strength, themes about endurance and about peace, themes about allowing yourself to have the things that genuinely bring you comfort and peace. Some shadows about unworthiness, or well, let's look at the shadow side of that, right, in the reverse. So if you have drawn this card in reverse, you hide behind your comforts. You have failed to take many self-loving risks in the name of safety. Don't let your addiction to playing it safe and keeping it comfortable hold you back now. You have been seeking comfort in unhealthy ways. It is time to get out of your comfort zone. You know what you have to do. Now is the time for action. So with the Soul Family card, that was definitely a call to action. In the negative too, like all of this is about what you need, knowing that that's different from where you are and what you're doing, feeling that that's distance and that chasm, and like wanting to resolve it, but knowing that it's going to be challenging. I guess because the way you're doing things right now is comforting. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, there are things that I've thought of as comforting and said that as like a positive, but it's kind of fuzzy sometimes, the difference, like what is peace and what is comfort and what is safety and what is security and what is happiness and what is numbness and what is, yeah, like distraction and autopilot and disassociation. It's a really fine line. I mean, I don't even know if it's a fine line exactly, but it's really easy to delude yourself and distort that. It's really, I mean, especially if you have any kind of incentive to be considering something in a positive light as a comforting thing, or you have some sort of incentive to view something that actually does bring you peace as a problem, or yeah. Interesting. Time for action. So even though this is a very like calm, grounded, integrating kind of energy, it's also very vibrant. There's a lot of like rainbow kind of stuff in here. I mean, the comfort one is a little bit more like pastels and like soft, earthy rainbow stuff, but it's all quite vibrant. So we have soul family, comfort, and then this third card that we drew is 28, improvement. So I'm gonna pull this out in the guidebook. Improvement. If you have drawn this card upright, it is time to pop the personal bubble. Your personal bubble is the small world you live in. We all have one, where you are the center of the universe. You are concerned with your well-being, with not wanting to look bad, with succeeding in life, with your personal pleasure. This is the bubble we all live in most of the time, and people who say they do not are trying to prove something. In your bubble, what matters most is how everything affects you personally. In our bubble, we are concerned with our pleasure and our comfort and try not to be uncomfortable. If we can learn to get outside this personal bubble and see things from a less self-centered approach, we can see some amazing things. When someone says or does something, it is not really about us. It is about the pain, fear, or the confusion they are feeling, or a desire they have, not us. We become less self-centered and begin to have a wider view. Everything changes from letting go of fear, anger, and procrastination to changing our habits and finding work that matters. If you have drawn this card, you are not seeing the bigger picture. Teal can be a little bit sharp, and I don't always agree with everything that she says, but I like to pull from everybody and everything. So I'm trying to make sure I'm really tapping into this pile and not my own stuff and not her stuff, right? But yeah, that's just really popping. Oh, wow. It's time to pop the personal bubble. You remember in one of my last readings, I was talking about last year around this time, I had a little charm that I carried on my phone with a bunch of stars in it, and it was like a little see-through Christmas ornament orb thing. It was a little bubble full of stars, full of like this Aquarian energy, right? Of like, I'm different, I'm special. It's like all the people inside of it that think that like they see life through glass, like nobody can really connect with them, nobody can really see them, and they're an alien and they're in that Aquarian energy and whatever. And then it fell on the ground and it shattered into a bunch of pieces and it popped the bubble. And the stars went everywhere out into the world. There's so much in this, man. I could do a whole reading just on this card. Okay, but basically, you need to pop your personal bubble. You're not seeing the bigger picture. You're trapped in this like hyper independence and this self-imposed isolation that maybe didn't feel self-imposed in the beginning. Like it felt like reasonable and like protection and like a reasonable response, and then it became like a pattern that's not useful now. Okay, let's read the reverse. If you have drawn this card in reverse, you may feel like you are currently retrogressing. The truth is, in a universe where linear time is an illusion created for the purpose of learning, there is no such thing as going backwards. So the questions you need to ask of yourself are, what have I learned from this? What am I currently learning from this? And what am I meant to be learning from this? Okay, so if you want to pop your personal bubble and you want to see the bigger picture, then some questions for you to reflect on may be, what have I learned from this? What am I currently learning from this? And what am I meant to learn from this? Particularly if you feel like you are struggling right now and retrogressing in some sense. I'm going to pull a clarifier from this brand new Light Seers tarot deck. I was really resistant to getting it for a long time. It just didn't really speak to me. And then I just felt like it was time all of a sudden. And all the cards make way more sense to me now, and I feel a lot more connected to it. And I was like, man, I think it's because I'm just way too into the darkness and into the shadow work and stuff. And there's a lot in here, but I mean, it's the Light Seers tarot. It was just too much light for me. And so I feel like something about this new moon, it became really quiet and dark and like planting a seed and like canceling out all of the previous karma and entropy and like the movement and the unfoldment, the karma. And it just kind of got really quiet and it came to an end and it canceled out. And now we're in a new space and a new energy, and it's not even fully defined yet. And we get to help define what that is and what that looks like, especially if we bring our intention into that. So it's very new to me, but we're going to see what comes out and just go with it. Thank you for being here with me as I experiment and such. If you're looking for your own deck, my feedback is that I love the finish and like I love the art, and there's so many cool things about this deck. But one thing is that they're really nice and thick. And so what is it, like a 78 card deck? And it is so big that it's like hard to hold in my tiny little hands. And my hands get sore like shuffling them. Ooh. Okay, so we got 3. I wasn't even originally sure if that's, whoa, there's 3 right here. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to take that because that's a lot, but we are going to look at them. They're all very interestingly, like on a similar color spectrum. There's like this aqua. We were talking about Aquarian, right? So it's like this Aquarian energy that, helps you understand people really well, but then also keeps you at a distance from them, studying them, as if like you are a creature in the ocean, like watching these creatures on the shore. Okay, but we got the Hanged Man, the Moon, the 8 of Cups. So let's see. You are in a period of reflection on things about your emotions, things about your relationships, fears, intimacy, trust stuff, family stuff. I see the white wolf and the black wolf here, kind of a nod to your yin and yang, to your different sides of your nature, to your subconscious and your superconscious. You know, this girl's kind of, it looks like she's breathing out and like kind of letting herself sink to the bottom, you know, when you're swimming and you're not trying to keep yourself up, you're actually trying to allow yourself to settle as much as possible. So it's like this comfortability that you're developing with your emotions and your emotional space, and the dichotomy that is present there, and kind of finding peace and acceptance in embracing the paradox. And there's a full moon here on this card, so like surrendering, there's a lot of that. Hanged Man, very much surrendering. She's in this back bend, open-hearted, open, you know, like soft belly out, throat open, totally exposed. This is like the opposite of the fetal position, right? So we're working with this duality of like wanting to curl up into a ball and protect ourselves, and wanting to open up into this crazy position and connect with everybody. And we're kind of considering and reflecting and just being very still. Eight of Cups is a card of like leaving things behind, especially things that like you've put a lot of work into emotionally, and just a lot of hope and a lot of chances, and feeling that it's just gotten to a point where you realize what's best for you is to leave this little bowl of fire in the ocean and walk towards the sun. So this is the choice that you're being presented with, right? That's what we were talking about, is you have a choice, and it's not really black and white. It's not like pass, fail. It's a journey that you're on right now. It's a process that you're engaged in right now. So don't be too hard on yourself when you have hiccups, when you mess up, or when you feel like, oh, is that the right move to make? Then don't go back and like hide away in all of your, what's the word I was gonna use? Insecurity, but like being insecure about your actions, and like, yeah, just trying to hold back to avoid making mistakes. There's a lot of energy here about just like fear of failure, fear of disappointing people, fear of change maybe, fear of connection, fear of intimacy. I mean, we did just have the Scorpio new moon, and that is what we're riffing off of today, right? Reflecting on that. I don't know if this came out in reverse. I was just holding it in reverse for some reason. So the Knight of Wands in reverse, that's giving me kind of like a Temperance energy, honestly, because Knight of Wands is often very impulsive and can be kind of almost like a player energy, or like a hothead, like a aggressive. And in reverse, I'm getting this like, well, there's a horse in the back, right? So it's like taming. There's also a lot of fire, taming horse. One of my middle names is Coltrane, and it means horse, and it means like freedom, and it means like independence, and it so there's something here about you seeking and valuing your independence and going after that with so much passion and drive. But if you're on this end of the spectrum where like you go too hard with that, maybe you're realizing that you're maybe hurting people when you're not intending to, because you're just moving so fast and so impulsively. And so this might be sort of a indication for some of y'all to slow down, to take some more deep breaths, to be more in a contemplative space. And when you feel really uncomfortable or confused, that you take more time with that before just like rushing forward into action. Because I get the sense that you're very independent and very capable and very self-sufficient and all this stuff, which makes it really challenging to feel motivated to reach out into connections. But it's also a beautiful thing, because if you are that independent and that self-sufficient already, and then you are able to open yourself up to genuine connection, then that comes from such a healthy, sustainable place where that's really not what's happening with people when they're just connecting with you out of need and desperation, right? So there is a beauty in that. And so, yeah, we have all of these blue and green cards here. And then we have all this fire in reverse. So this is very like soothing, calming, releasing, acceptance energy. And then we got Knight of Cups. So they're both knights, right? So it's like Knight of Wands reversed, coming into more of a Knight of Cups energy, balancing out with more of a Knight of Cups energy, right? So this is a little more sweet. This is a little more open-hearted. I mean, honestly, Knight of Cups sometimes gets kind of a bad rap, can be a little bit less emotionally mature than like a King or Queen of Cups, but more mature than a Page of Cups. And there's like a very deeply genuine, heart open, heartfelt energy about the Knight of Cups. And it can be taken to extremes, right? And so this is really talking a lot in this pile about balance. I think that's why I kept being called to read like both parts of the guidebook and everything. So we're trying to integrate our fire and our water, like our passion, our Martian energy, our smegs and I was gonna say DEATH and rock and roll, but like, you know, your Mars energy, your go energy. Some people would call it your masculine energy. And tempering that just a little bit with that open-hearted, empathetic, emotionally expressive also. It's kind of like he's pouring his heart out and bringing these roses to this person. It's like vulnerable. It's vulnerability. And as much as like cool things can come out of this energy, it's not really a vulnerable energy. It can put you in vulnerable positions if you like make impulsive decisions that you shouldn't, I guess. So no matter what end of the spectrum you are on, whatever, you know, aspect you're coming at this from, it's about finding the balance, right? If you're too vulnerable and you aren't independent enough, that can cause issues in relationships. If you are too closed down and wait, that'll be that way. If you're too closed down and you're too impulsive, you're too fiery, you're too independent, that can also cause problems. This is kind of like, this is almost like an avoidant energy. And this is kind of more of like a anxious energy in a negative sense, right? So that's what we're talking about in this pile is balance. Balance. Okay. I see that we're at 29 minutes and I've been working on making nice succinct videos for y'all, so I'm just gonna leave it at that today actually. Thank you so much for being here today, and we're gonna move on to group 2. So let me get my Light Seers deck back together over here and set that to the side. Sorry for the construction that's still going on, y'all. You know, life is lifing. I am going to clear the energy just a little bit before we move on to the next pile. So if you have any sound sensitivities, please cover your ears now. All right. Group 2. Welcome. We've got festivity, right? So we're reflecting on this Scorpio new moon that we recently had and the themes that came up for it. If you did pick a card from that pile, if not, maybe just one of the piles speaks to you here and now, and you don't, necessarily need anything from the previous one. You will know for yourself. So today I'm going to be reading from the guidebook for the frequency deck from Teal Swan. She's just a person, and we all have pros and cons and dark and light and strengths and weaknesses, and I don't think of her as an idol or a perfect person in any way. I mean, I don't think that she does either. But this was one of the tools I was called to use today. It's been a while, and so we're going to read from the guidebook to start with, okay? So 18, festivity. I'll wait. Just read. Freya, Folly, Michael, Mary, please be here with me now. Allow me to see, allow me to channel for the collective what is here for them in their greatest and highest good, and balance with that of the collective at large. Please and thank you, thank you, thank you. Maybe take some deep breaths. Reminder of the group last week for the festivity pile. It was also associated with the throat and the herb peppermint. So if those are some sort of confirmation for you, maybe this pile is for you. Festivity. If you have drawn this card upright, it is time to celebrate. There are many things in life to celebrate, so you always have the excuse to do so. But it must be known that you do not need an excuse to celebrate. That being said, this card is your excuse to celebrate. So go do it. And remember, celebration is always better when other people are invited to the party. Make your pleasure known. Ask yourself, what can I celebrate? Make this day special. And in the reverse, it says, if you have drawn this card in reverse, you have been isolating yourself. You have forgotten the important things in life, and you have stopped celebrating them. You are letting your routine suck the pleasure out of your life. Mark your pleasure in something important in your life and call people to you or seek them out. Monotony should rule no one's life. It's time to have some fun. This pile definitely had some crossover with pile number 1 with the heart one. So it's a lot about like expressing and speaking from the heart, whether you're coming from this energy, which is a little bit more internal and about like your side of things, and this other one, which is very, very earthy and about connecting with people in your physical life. But it's all about communication, allowing more authentic connection, right? So this is inside out, the other one's kind of a little more outside in. Okay, so we have festivity, and then the next clarifying card that we have is breaking through barriers. This is a fun artwork on here. I like the mandala effect. I'm gonna take a sip of water here so y'all don't have to suffer through my morning voice. Yeah, something about the throat. I learned recently-ish that gargling water is something that can like instantly impact your vagus nerve and your nervous system and help bring you into a parasympathetic state, kind of like breath work and stuff. That's a very useful tool. So maybe that's useful for you. Regardless of whether you have drawn this card upright or in reverse, its meaning is the same. There are barriers that stand between you and what you want. And now is the time to break through those barriers. The ego does not create barriers to hurt us. The ego creates barriers to keep us safe. In this circumstance, you would do well to ask, what am I trying to keep myself from? If I get what I want, what bad thing does some part of me think will happen? There is always a positive reason or intention behind the existence of a negative thing. If we can figure out what positive role that negative thing in our life is playing, and if we can find out what it is trying to prevent us from experiencing, we are well along the way to breaking through the obstructions that stand between us and our truest desires and goals. So some reflections that would be useful for you might be, what am I trying to keep myself from? If I get what I want, what bad thing does some part of me think will happen? This is a really good time to really look at and confront your fears and then sit with them and in that discomfort and say, if that thing that I'm afraid of happens that way, then what? And really like feel it and think about it and play it out in your head. And if that happens, then what? And if that happens, then what? Until you've really played out all of the potentialities and you feel at peace, because that fear is really about fear of the unknown and being unprepared and being caught off guard and stuff. So if you can, with a calm mind, think out into the future about all of the possibilities and be mentally prepared in that way, then you're gonna make better decisions and you're not gonna be like pushed and pulled around by fear and greed and insecurity. Yeah, it's time to break through barriers. If we can figure out what positive role that negative thing, the problem is the solution. We got 76, which is 7 plus 6 is 13. I think that's the death card, number 13. Don't quote me on that. Okay, and then we have speak from the heart. What was I just talking about? All right, 56. 56. All right. If you have drawn this card upright, you need to communicate your personal truth to someone. Imagine your heart as a separate being that lives inside you. What does your heart feel like? Does your heart feel appreciated and loved, or does it feel ignored and undervalued? Begin by asking your heart directly, what makes you unhappy? What do you need me to do differently? And if you could have one wish, what would it be? And what do you have to tell me? You will receive the answers on an intuitive level. When we speak from the heart, we speak from the core of ourselves. We speak from a place that is vulnerable enough that it does not put others on the defense. Speaking from the heart allows for much deeper conversations. Your job now is to communicate those truths to the other person. Breaking through barriers. So there's like a barrier to this celebration and this festivity and enjoyment, there's a barrier to speaking from the heart that is preventing the full expression of this festivity energy. Let's read the reverse. If you have drawn this card in reverse, you need to speak to your own heart. Other people in your life are not open to your truth at this particular time. It makes no sense to open up to someone who does not currently want to receive you. Imagine your heart as a separate being that lives inside you. What does your heart feel like? Does your heart feel appreciated and loved? Wait. Wait, did I just read that? Did I read the whole thing? Deja vu. I don't know. Maybe there's a message in that. I'm going to start over. I'm so sorry. Okay. If you have drawn this card in reverse, you need to speak to your own heart. Other people in your life are not open to your truth at this particular time. It makes no sense to open up to someone who does not currently want to receive you. Imagine your heart as a separate being that lives inside you. What does your heart feel like? Does your heart feel appreciated and loved, or does it feel ignored and undervalued? Begin by asking your heart directly, what makes you unhappy? What do you need me to do differently? If you could have one wish, what would it be? And what do you have to tell me? You will receive the answers on an intuitive level. Next, it's your turn to speak to your heart. Address the concerns that were put forth by your heart. Acknowledge that you value your heart's needs and wants and perspective. After all, it represents the perspective of your true self. What do you think your heart needs to hear? Tell that to your heart. You can speak to your heart inside your mind's eye if you do not wish to speak out loud. Next, take steps to fulfill the wish that your heart expressed. So taking time to speak with, connect with yourself and your deepest desires from a place that is free from like shame and judgment and the people, places, things that are gonna influence the way that you express yourself because they're not actually open to what you are. And there's going to be different levels and layers of that. Some people are going to aggressively oppose you, and then some people are going to see you as something that you're not, and then be frustrated and try to help you become that thing that they think that you are. When that was never the case. And it might be frustrating and make you feel like alone. And in that case, you need to really focus on connecting with your own heart, because you're not accessing heart-based connections with other people. Not really reciprocal, not really vulnerable, not really seeing into each other. I mean, for this collective, I feel like some of you a lot of times may have that experience often of like seeing into other people so deeply that you see things in them that you feel like it's a secret, or it's like you're not supposed to see it, and you don't want to like call people out and stuff, and it just makes you afraid of other people's shadows, basically. But being that afraid of other people's shadows can lead you into a space of a lot of isolation, and that can prevent you from speaking from your heart. You know, if what you say when you speak from your heart doesn't resonate with somebody, or they get upset or offended or frustrated or annoyed or whatever, that information is useful for you to have, you know? And it's really not your responsibility. Like, their response to your expression is on them. It's for them to deal with. And I feel like for a lot of you, you may be overly concerned with the way that your truth and your expression and your feelings and your beliefs and your values impact other people, as if your existence is some kind of violence on others. And I got that deja vu. I was so confused because there was so much in the reversal, like the questions, it was the word for word similar to the thing I had just read. But on this side, it says that you're resistant to deep, meaningful relationships, and you need to wait. Yeah, what? Oh, right. Okay, so one of them is about talking to your own heart about it, about you, about what your heart needs, right? And then the other one, I guess, okay, so one's kind of about not being afraid to express our truth so that we can connect with other people. And then another one's kind of more about detachment and about recognizing when people aren't for us. And in those cases, being our own safety and our own connection. So there's some duality here. You may be on one side of it, you may be on the other side of it. I am going to pull some clarification from the Light Seers Tarot today. Let's see what we get there. Freya, Folly, Michael, Mary, please be here with me now. Allow me to channel for the collective here. 9 of Swords. Yeah, I definitely feel like you're going through some kind of mental anguish in relation to this struggle of speaking from the heart. Page of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. That speaks to, you know, taking one small step at a time. And, you know, just, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like a faith card. It's like planting a seed. Like, things are really hard right now. But you see one of those birds up there? That it's actually a white bird. A lot of these look like they're tormenting her, and then this looks kind of like a spirit guide that's like coming down to help her, support her through this process a little bit. So you're going through it right now. It's very intense, a lot of mental anguish, maybe some sleeplessness, lots of darkness. But through it all, you have this connection with God, with Source, with your higher self that is allowing you to have some amount of like peace and almost even fulfillment in the process. It's painful and it's not sustainable where you're at right now, but you also have the clarity and the sobriety of mind to like get through it. It's kind of like a stoic energy, but it's also very emotionally present, if that makes any sense. You don't have to necessarily, especially if you're not in a safe place, to over-express emotionally. But it is at least important to process and move that energy within yourself, if nothing else, if you don't have like a safe space to do that externally, you know what I mean? Spirit, can I please get another clarifier for the collective? I'm not sure. It kind of looked like it came out in reverse. I don't think I'm going to take it that way though. 6 of Swords. Okay, so this is really just a card of moving on to calmer waters. It's kind of like you've made a choice, right? To move on from this 9 of Swords energy. You made that choice, but you're still kind of on the shore here where you're like almost close enough to see the land that you came from. These are very similar. It looks like she's like, yeah, it's like the same scene. So you're just kind of pushing off of the shore at this time. There's a lot of mental energy here, so there's just like a lot of reflection. 9 of Swords, even though it's a mental card, it's almost quite emotional because it's very intense, right? The more intense and dramatic the sword's energy gets, the more it almost feels like an emotional energy, but it's not. That's different. It's drama. It's narrative. You don't need the narrative. Well, look at it from a bird's eye perspective. There's a lot of birds here, right? Tap into your higher self. See your situation from a higher perspective. Acknowledge the parts that suck. Acknowledge the parts that you wish could be different, that you don't have any control over. Cry if you need to. You know, look down into the ocean and disassociate if you need to. Take your time if you need to. You might be tired, but you're gonna get in that boat and you're gonna, you know, one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, Page of Pentacles. You're going to go from this space of self-imposed limitation. You're gonna see that this is real, but it's also real because it's inside of you, and you have a lot more control over your mental space than people probably have led you to believe in your life. And this Knight of Swords energy for me is getting like the heck out of Dodge. You see it, you really see it, you really accept it, you really process it, you really decide you're ready to move on. And then this King of Swords energy is like getting on this motorcycle, ready to, with his crossbow, this bird. It's almost like chariot energy, but it's chariot energy in regards to swords, in regards to your thoughts, in regards to your communication. So, excuse me, Knight of Swords is often a card of fast-moving incoming communication. This may be you, this may be somebody else. Yeah, this may be you, this may be somebody else coming in fast with that communication. So if you're more especially in that energy of not having a safe place to express and speak from the heart, and so you have to create that space for yourself within your own heart, this is either kind of accepting that full on and getting really honest with yourself and moving forward with it with like determination and an optimism and like just a can-do attitude and just like black and white. Yeah, it's just this very stoic, independent energy, and sometimes you need to get into that if you really aren't safe. But then also try to consider if you are just kind of projecting a lot of fear onto the connections and the people where you feel inspired to speak from your heart, and you want it to be safe, and maybe part of you feels like it's safe and part of you doesn't, right? And that's the discernment between the air and the water energy. Like, am I overthinking this, or is this my intuition? Okay. Could I get a little more on this for the majority of this collective? Are they overthinking this, or is it their intuition in regards to feeling a energy of not being seen and met truly? Yeah. I got two cards. I got the Five of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, okay? So I think Six of Pentacles is a card of charity, teamwork. Okay, but anyways, we have Five of Pentacles. This girl is like real small, or I mean, I don't know if she's a human, so maybe she's not small for what she is, but like she is too small to pick up this key in the back here and put it into this keyhole and turn it. Like, that's just not an option for her. So she's outside of this doorway with all of this abundance and all this good stuff inside of it. And she literally isn't what she needs to be able to turn that key. And so she's very sad and dejected. But it's like, who told you that you should be able to turn that key? And like that there's something wrong with you for not being able to turn that key. And like, yeah, there's good stuff behind that door, but maybe what's behind that door isn't for you. Clearly, you didn't make that key. Your family didn't make that key. Like, that's not yours. That's not for you. Okay? But what is for you is the King of Pentacles. This dude's like very grounded, very at peace. He's got like this dog energy. It's kind of giving like wolf, like independence, like stable and self-sufficient in that kind of way. But then also, like, I'm also a pack animal. I also like to like stay home and snuggle and read and have a fire and a tea or whatever. Like, this is cozy, comforting vibes, right? And this is, I'm not good enough. Okay, so that's it. Tune into your body. Tune into your intuition. It's a process. It may not go super smoothly. You may not always interpret correctly, but start practicing that as much as possible, right? And so feel into, is this a power struggle? I see a lot of yellow here, a lot of, yeah, this is power struggle energy. This is something making you feel small. Is something making you feel like you should be something other than what you are. Is this thing making you feel dejected and alone and left outside and disconnected? Is it leaving you feeling invisible? Is it leaving you feeling in the dark? Is it leaving you in this energy? Right? Or is it leaving you with like a soft, warm feeling at the end of the night when you lay your head on the pillow and you think about it? It can really be that simple sometimes. And there are things that you can do to help be able to like read your nervous system a little bit easier. But it is a process. So you're gonna need some patience. And you know, take time to tune into where you are on that spectrum. I mean, it may be different for you in different relationships and different parts of your life as well. Most readings relate to different aspects of yourself. So I'm going to wrap this up. This week, just mentally been so all over the place. If you've been like leaving things, if you've been like doing like taking the wrong turn, or like, I was working on a client the other day and I literally didn't work on the front of her left leg, and I basically convinced myself that I had. Like, I don't know. We're going through a wormhole right now. Be patient with yourself and others, I guess, is what I'm basically trying to get at. Okay, before we move on to the next pile, I'm going to take a sip of water so we can hopefully get to a place with my voice that works well with the recording. Please let me know all your feedback, good, bad, and ugly. So for this next pile here, I'm going to clear the energy with this sound bowl. Please cover your ears if you have any sort of sound sensitivities. That is very cool. We are at basically an hour, and the first pile that I did was basically exactly at a half an hour. So let's see if we keep going with that. I like the consistency and the speed and it's giving like building and momentum. The previous piles were the heart and the throat, and now we're moving up into the mind. This is kind of a crown chakra energy, a little bit of a third eye energy, and it was associated with Rose in the Scorpio new moon reading. Freya, Folly, Michael, Mary, please be here with me now and allow me to channel for the collective what is in their greatest and highest good, balanced with that of the collective at large. Please allow me to see. Please and thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we also had amethyst in that pile, and that's coming through extra strong right now for some reason. And this pile was labeled the meanie. The meanie. This is card 73 in the Frequency Tarot deck by Teal Swan. So I'm gonna read from the book to start here. We've got 73, the meanie. Regardless of whether you draw this card upright or in reverse, its meaning is the same. You are resisting your awakening. At this point in time, you are particularly resistant and closed down. And so now it is time for a wake-up call from the universe. Here is a set of questions you need to answer for yourself at this time. All of these groups have had questions and journal prompts, which I think is real cool, like very new moon energy. So number one, what is the positive intention I have for keeping this negative thing in my life? What need is being met by it? Why don't I want to get better or improve this situation? So if you're in a situation that you don't like and you're not taking responsibility for changing it, it's obviously because there's a reason that you're doing it and there's a reason you did it in the first place. And so maybe have a little bit of compassion for your base nature and a little bit of compassion for your subconscious, and like just honestly ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I do this thing that hurts me? Like, nobody does things that hurt them just to hurt them. Even if you're just like a complete masochist, you do that because you get something out of it that you're looking for. It's like everything has a motivation to it. So look at your motivation, not so much from like a judgmental lens as if there's something wrong with your deeper nature that you need to control and like dominate. And it's giving the strength card, right? You don't need to dominate your base nature. You need to work with it. Your body and your subconscious and your instincts have a ton of valuable information to share with you. And you need to respect that and work with it and honor it. And that's going to be more efficient, more effective, and have more longevity to it than trying to dominate a part of yourself. As if, yeah, any part of yourself, they all have to work together. You cannot be diminishing parts of yourself. So yeah, just compassionately question yourself as to why you are doing something that you know has a negative aspect to it. And instead of mulling over that negative aspect and how do I make myself change that and everything, just get more reflective and contemplative and just think about, why do I do this? What do I have to gain? How am I helping myself? Thank you. Thank you for helping myself. Like, this isn't ideal. I wish I could think of like a better option, but thank you for doing what you had to do to make what you needed to happen. Thank you, self. Question 2. What do I not want other people to know about me? So there may be some kind of fear of exposure here, right? So maybe it's easy to start with, why do I do this thing? What am I getting out of it? But maybe it's a little harder to allow other people to have that kind of intimacy with you. And I think that it's easier to develop that kind of intimacy with other people if we learn how to really practice that kind of intimacy and transparency and compassion with ourselves first. I think if you don't do that with yourself first, then it's all really like the connection is a performance and it's a manipulation and it's just really not coming from the right place and it's not going to benefit either of you, right? But connection is important and you don't want to be entirely living behind a mask and a facade. So you want to protect yourself a little bit and be mindful about why you're doing that. But also ask yourself, like, what are the things that would make me upset if they were exposed about me? And what is it that I gain from preventing that exposure? I think in just seeing that and asking yourself that, you're going to have a lot of gears turning in your mind that allow you to come up with more genuine solutions to this issue. There's so many questions here. Oh, wait. So that second question had another part. What am I trying to hide or deny? So this is all about exposure, right? You're exposing to yourself what your true intentions are, what your true desires are, and then like what your true fears are, what your true masks are, or your struggles with masks. It may not be all one way or the other. Number 3, why am I not doing the things I know I should be doing? I feel like that's kind of reflective of the first question in a way. Wait, why am I not doing the things that I should be doing? Yeah, so it's like, why am I doing the things I shouldn't be doing? And what am I getting out of that? Cool, got that. Now moving on to, well, why am I not doing the things that I know I should do that I'll also get something out of, and that might be a little bit better than the solution that I'm working on right now, perhaps? Number 4, if I weren't scared, what would I do? So this would be useful for visualization and meditation and lucid dreaming kind of work, to explore what that would be like, what that would feel like. If I were scared, if I was not scared, what would I do? When I was in my 20s and I did certain substances up my nose, people thought like, oh, that's escapism and like trying to get messed up, and I had no interest in that whatsoever. It was very intentionally like, I have no idea who would I be and what would I say if I could not help myself, if I could not hold back, if I could not disassociate, if I just ran my mouth without thinking like a lot of people around me, what would I say? Who would I be? And I learned a lot from that, and I'm very at peace with all of that. Not to recommend that behavior. There are other ways of doing this. I'm just saying, like, get into that psychonaut space of, if I was not scared, genuinely, what would that feel like in my body? Who would I be? What would that mean? And how would I move if that were the case? So take some time to explore that. Number 5, what in my life is worth suffering for? I'm gonna leave that there. Great question, always. Because then you're all in, right? Like, you're not checking results, you're not tallying things, you just know what you want and you're willing to do anything to get it. So you're never gonna get burnt out, basically. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, that kind of thing. Number 6, what am I willing to give up, or what do I need to give up in order to have what I want? May or may not be a super easy question for you to answer, but worth taking the time to reflect on if you're really feeling this pile and this challenge. And the last question is, if I weren't scared to admit to it, what would I admit to myself that I really want? And that may be super confronting, obviously. That's why she set it up as if I weren't scared to admit it. So this is obviously something that you are scared to admit to. All right, why are you scared to admit what you really want? That's interesting. Okay, so I'll leave all those there for you to reflect on individually because it's going to be a little different for all of you. This card is as liberating as it is painful to draw. It suggests that we must awaken to our true selves and our true desires if we are to live a life that is worth living. It demands that you admit what you want to yourself. It also demands that you admit to the ways that you are preventing yourself from what you want and why. So this is very much a reality check, wake-up call kind of energy. Very stern. I'm getting like Hierophant, Emperor. It's like, I don't know, it's like a disciplinarian or something, like getting called into the principal's office, but like at a good school, like where they're really actually helping you. Yeah, cool. 57, spiritual guide. Let's pull up the guide for that one. 1:11 on the clock. Spiritual guide. If you have drawn this card upright, it is appropriate to seek guidance at this time. Who are you compelled to seek guidance from? Now, it is not the time or place to figure it out alone. Admit to yourself that you need help. Figure out exactly what you need help with. Look for someone that can help you. If you feel the need, seek a second or third opinion. Internalize the advice you receive and check it against your inner knowing. Does their advice or help resonate with you at this time? If so, why? If not, why? Put any new knowledge you receive from others to the test. If you have drawn this card in reverse, others need you for guidance at this time. It is not your responsibility to help them, but it may very well be your capability to help them. Remember that unless people ask for your help, the message you are sending is that you have decided something is wrong with them. That being said, many people ask for help without directly asking for it. Trust your intuition to know who wants your help and who does not. If you have drawn this card in reverse, someone needs you at this time to help him or her in the best way that you know how. And remember that even if we do not know how to help someone, the best gift is the gift of our unconditional presence. Okay. So yeah, it is this teacher energy. And either you are the teacher and right now you're being called to kind of hold some space for somebody in some sense. You'll know if your intuition is guiding you to do that. Or it's time for you to humble yourself and come to the feet of a teacher yourself. There may be some aspect of both of these for some of you, like both and, right? Because mentors need mentors, healers need healers, therapists need therapists, yada yada. I'm just going to leave that there. Spiritual guide. You are a spiritual guide. You require assistance from a spiritual guide. Okay. So it's like the meanie was the wake-up call in your past. The spiritual guide is your present process of, pursuing this transformation that you're looking for. Exploring these questions and these reflections. and confronting the reality, maybe the harsh reality that they expose. And then in your near future, we have 29, joy. So let's read from the book together on this one here. This was the first frequency tarot deck card that I pulled for my Instagram. It's very, very resonant. Like, it has a lot of roots to this channel. If you have drawn this, I'm getting sunflowers. Okay. If you have drawn this card upright, it is time to get back in touch with your joy, an exalted state of happiness, an inner contentment. The worry, pessimism, and pain in your life have to be put on the back burner long enough for you to feel some sense of joy. Your soul needs to take a deep breath in, and the way it does this is through positive feeling emotions. Do something today just because it feels good. So right now you're going through a process that's very challenging. It's very confronting. It's very draining. It's very necessary. It's very, like, you can't argue with it. You can't avoid it. You can't... It feels chaotic. It feels overwhelming. And you can't put it down. And it's like diffusing a bomb kind of energy. But you can pause time. You don't have to diffuse the bomb all at once. It's just not the nature of how this thing is working. You need some breaks. You need some levity. You need, like, whatever you have in your life already that brings you joy. You don't have to, like, do all of this working with it to make it work, to fix it. Like, the things that already work. Put a little bit of attention into that to help you, to fuel you through this process, because you're only like halfway there and you're tired and you're not a superhuman, as I started this entire reading like this at the very beginning with. If you have drawn this card in reverse, you have been swallowed up by the negatives in your life. You have given up too much. Ask yourself this question: what is true about me that would make my 8-year-old self cry? We all have a tendency to lose touch with what we loved as a child. Something about the social pressures of adolescence and professional pressures of young adulthood squeezes the passion out of us. We are taught that the only reason to do something is if we are somehow rewarded for it. We stop living our lives for the things that feel good to us, which is weird because things feeling good to us should be considered a reward, right? A rewarding, that's an internal reward system. Now is the time to change this about yourself. If you cannot feel joy or happiness, do something that is beneficial for you, something that causes you to feel relief. It's not a bad thing, not a dirty word. Re-explore the things you loved to do as a child and or try new things. Eventually the brightness of your joy will burn out the pain. Yeah, so some people would say that this is like escapism, right? But honestly, you're doing a lot of really hard work right now and you need relief. Healing, real healing, sustainable, long-term healing comes through pleasure, change, fast changes. Like, alchemy happens through pleasure. And obviously there are like different parts to that. We can have different kinds of relationships to pain and pleasure. There is some kind of bleed over. There is some kind of relationship. But I feel like you're either so tightly held and focused on making things happen a particular way that you don't have room or like even the emotional, like the feeling that you deserve joy. Some people kind of have this perception of joy as like some kind of reward that they get for pushing through a really hard thing and getting to the other side and succeeding and rewarding themselves. I would say give yourself the ice cream cone now while you're studying to enjoy that process more and like get more out of it, as opposed to waiting to give yourself an ice cream cone after you pass the test. Like, even if you study the best you can and then you fail the test, you shouldn't be like keeping the ice cream cone from yourself. Why wait? It's actually not helping you. Like, it's giving the energy of when you stay up really, really, really late to study for a test tomorrow, but then you wake up and you're so tired and all the studying you did was on this brain that was like not operating properly, and it isn't actually gonna help you pass this test. It's like this mental obsession with self-sacrifice, as if you could eventually self-sacrifice yourself into a place of safety, into a place that's reasonable, in a place where you can just finally let go and relax and be exhausted and not have to overdo anymore. But you will never get there by overdoing, because in that overdoing energy, you're just attracting more chaos and more destructive, chaotic energy into your life. So don't drop the ball. Don't like totally like run away. Don't just like go on a bender. But infuse every day, regularly, with little things that give you energy, that give you joy, that can help spur on the work that you're doing on those hard things, right? Excuse me. We got a couple more minutes left, and I'm gonna do a little bit of clarification from the Light Seers Tarot deck here for the Meanie group. Yeah, I think that amethyst was coming through really hardcore because you could really use some calming, grounding, higher perspective energy right now to help move you through this. Freya, Folly, Michael, Mary, please be here with me now. Allow me to see, allow me to channel for the collective what is within their greatest and highest good, balanced with the collective at large. Please and thank you, thank you, thank you. Can I please get a card to start clarifying this group, the Meanie? Okay, we got Justice and the Star. That's kind of upside down, but whoa, interesting, right? It's hard to tell. So Justice is the scales, right? But it's not just left to right mirroring, it's also up and down mirroring. There's so much going on there. Interesting. There's a sword. There's usually not a sword involved in Justice. But, I mean, well, actually there is. It's the Sword of Justice. Wow. And the Star. Okay, so it's kind of like whatever's going on here, you're working really hard